b'ni musar avicha va'al titosh torat imecha Shema b'ni musar avicha va'al titosh Torah timecha Torah tziva lanu Moshe Morasha kehilat Yaakov Torah tziva lanu Moshe Morasha kehilat Yaakov Torah tziva lanu Moshe Morasha kehilat Yaakov.
Welcome everybody to this beautiful Simcha. I want to start with 3 thanks. First to the Almighty for granting us a beautiful Simcha with which to adorn our lovely community despite the difficulties of our time. Secondly, to the singers for sharing their Simcha with our community in this lovely way. And thirdly, to all of the guests who come to join us from all over the world. Your presence means a lot to the family and you make the Simcha complete merely by being here. I'd like to now hand over to Phil for his words of welcome.
Thank you, Rabbi. It's great to see everyone. Well, at least virtually anyway. We would like to welcome you to Benji's virtual Mitzvah. Please leave messages in the chat and comments so we can read them later. More from me later, but here is the man of the moment, Benji.
Dear Rabbi, family and friends, my Bar Mitzvah Sedra this week is a special reading, as it is the Parsha immediately before the festival of Purim, which will take place on Thursday and Friday. I shall begin by reading from the start of this week's Parsha, Teruma, which gives details on the construction of the Mishkan, the tabernacle. Shabbat Zachor, the Shabbat of Remembrance, we remember how the tribe of Amalek attempted to wipe out the Jewish people as they started their journey from Egypt to Eretz Yisrael. On Shabbat Zachor, it is a special mitzvah to listen to the Matter, which recites the commandment never to forget to wipe out the memory of what Amalek had stood for. As this is such an important commandment, it is customary for it to be read by a senior member of the community and not a Bar Mitzvah boy. The connection with Purim is clear. On Purim we read how the wicked Haman plotted to wipe out the Jewish people. We celebrate how this plot was foiled by Esther's bravery and how Haman himself and his sons died instead. The Haftorah, which I shall read, is also a special reading for the Parshat Zachor, which again reminds us of the treacherous act of Amalek. The Haftorah relates to the story of how King Saul was charged by Hashem to completely wipe out the tribe of Amalek. However, King Saul spared Agag, king of the Amalekites, and as a punishment for disobeying Hashem, was told by Samuel that his heir would not become king. I'm twinning my Bar Mitzvah with David Dellenberg, who was born in Antwerp in 1933. Sadly, David was killed at Auschwitz when he was only 9 years old, so he never had the opportunity to be a Bar Mitzvah. The theme of this week's reading is that we must guard against the possibility that wicked people may attempt to wipe out the Jewish people. Never again should this be allowed to take place. And now, our survivors are getting older. This is more important than ever. Baruch Hu Hat Hashem HaMavorach. Baruch Hashem HaMavorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Hashem Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim V'natan Lanu HaTorah Baruch Atah Hashem Noten HaTorah. וידבר אדוני משה לאמור דבר אל בני ישראל ויקחו לי תרומה מאת כל איש אשר ידבנו לבו תיקחו את תרומתי וזאת התרומה אשר תיקחו מאיתם זהב והסף ונחושת ותכלת וארגמן ותולעת שני ושש רזם פרות אלים מאוד עמים פרות תחשים ועשית שתם שמן למאור ושמים לשמן המשחה ולקטורת הסמים אבני שוהם ואבני מילואים לעבוד ולחושן ועשו לי מקדש ושכנתי בתוכם ככל אשר אני מאר אותך את אבני המשכן ואת אבני כל כליו וכן תעשו ועשו ארון נעשה שתים 2.5 אורכו ואמה וחצי רוחבו ואמה וחצי קומתו וציפית אותו זהב טהור מבית מהות תצפנו ועשית עליו זהב סביב ויצאת לו 4 טבעות זהב ונתת על 4 פעמותיו ושתי טבעות עשה לו האחת ושתי טבעות עשה לו השנית ועשית ודאי יעשה שתים וציפית אותם זהב והבאת את הבדים בטבעות על שדות ארון לשאת את ארון בהם בטבעות ארון יהיו הבדים לא יסורו ממנו ונתת על הארון את העדות אשר אתן אליך ברוך אתה השם אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו ברוך אתה השם נותן התורה
אמן.
ברוך אתה השם אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנביאים טובים ורצה בדבריהם הנאמרים באמת ברוך אתה השם הבוחר בתורה במשה עבדו בישראל עמו בנביאי האמת והצדק כה אמר אדוני צבאות פקדתי את אשר עשה עמלק ישראל אשר שם לו בדרך עולתו ממצרים אתה לפקדת את עמלק והחרמתם את כושלו ולא תחמול עליו והימרת מאש עד אישה מעליו וג'ונק מישוב עשה מגמר בת חמור וישמע שאול את העם ויפקדם בתלאים 200,000 רגלי ו10,000 את איש יהודה ויבוא שאול עד עיר עמלק וירא בנחל ויאמר שאול אל הקני לכו סורו רדו מתוך עמלקי פן אוסיפך עמו ואתה עשית חסד עם כל בני ישראל ולאתם במצרים ויסר קני מתוך עמלק ויך שאול את עמלק מחבירה בחשר אשר על פני מצרים ויתפוס את אגג מלך עמלק חי, ואת כהן אחריהם לפי חרב, ויעמוד שאול והעם על הגג, ועל מיטב הצאן, והבקר, והמשנים, והכרם, והטוב, ולא אהבו החרימה, והמלאכה, למבזר ומס אותה החרימו. ויהי דבר אדוני לשמואל לאמור, נלחמתי, כי הנחתי את שאול למלך קישר מאחורי, ואת דברי לא הקיים. וייחל לשמואל, ויזעק אל אדוני כל לילה. וישכם שמואל לקראת שאול בבוקר, ויגד שמואל לאמור, ושאול הכרמלה, והנה מעצב לו יד, ויסוב יבוא, וירד הגלגל, ויבוא שמואל על שאול, ויאמר לו שאול, ברוך אתה לאדוני, הקימותי את דבר אדוני. ויאמר שמואל, ומה חסון הזה באוזני, וכל הבקר אשר אנוכי שומע. ויאמר שאול, המלאכי הביאום, אשר חמל העם, ומיטב הצאן, והבקר, למען זבוח לאדוני אלוהיך, וגדלותיה החרמנו. ויאמר שמואל על שאול, חרף וגידה לך את אשר דיבר אדוני אלי הלילה, ויאמר לו תרבה. ויאמר שמואל, הלא אם קטון אתה בניך ראש שבטי ישראל אתה, וימשך אדוני למלך ישראל, וישלח אדוני בדרך, ויאמר לך והרמת את התאים את עמלק, ונחמת בו עד כלתם אותם. ולמה לא שמעת בקול אדוני, ואתה תשלח, ואתה תרע בני אדוני. ויאמר שאול על שמואל, אשר שמעתי בקול אדוני, ואלך בדרך אשר שלחני אדוני, ואביא את אגג מלך עמלק, ואת עמלק החרמתי. ויקח העם מהשלל צאן ובקר ראשית החרם לזבוח לאדוני אלוהיך בגלגל. ויאמר שמואל, ההפץ לאדוני בעולות ישחק, כי שמוע בקול אדוני, הנה שמוע מזבח טוב, להשיב מחלף אלים, כי חטא קסם מרי, ואבן וטרפים הפסה, יער. מעשת הדבר אדוני, וימסך ממלך. ויאמר שאול על שמואל, חטאתי, כי עברתי את פי אדוני ואת דבריך, כי יריתי את העם, ואשמע בקול העם, ואתה שנא את חטאתי, ואשוב עמי, ואשחווה לאדוני. ויאמר שמואל לשאול, לא אשוב עמך, כי מאסת את דבר אדוני, וימסך אדוני מהיום מלך ישראל. ויצא שמואל ללכת, ויחזיק בכנוף מעילו, ויקרא, ויאמר אליו שמואל, קרא אדוני את ממלכות ישראל אליך היום, ונתנה רעך טוב ממך, וגם נצח ישראל לא ישקר ולא ינחם, כי לא אדם הוא לנחם. ויאמר חטאתי חטא, כבדני נא, נגד זקני עמי ונגד ישראל. ואשוב עמי ושכבתי לאדוני אלוהיך. וישוב שמואל אחרי שאול, וישתחו שאול לאדוני. ויאמר שמואל, הגישו אלי את אגג מלך עמלק, וילך אליו אגג מעדנות. ויאמר אגג, אכן שר מוות. ויאמר שמואל, כאשר שקלה נשים הרבה, כן תשכב נשים עמך. וישסק שמואל את אגג לפני אדוני בגלגל. וידע שמואל הרמתה, ושאול עלה אל ביתו גבעת שאול. ברוך אתה השם אלוהינו מלך העולם, כל העולמים, צדיק בכל הדורות. האל הנאמן, האומר ועושה, דבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו, ונאמנים דבריך. ודבריך אכול לשוב ריקם, כי המלך נאמן ורחמן אתה. ברוך אתה השם האל הנאמן בכל דבריו. רחם על ציון כי היא בית חיינו, לעלוב הנפש תושיע במהרה בימינו. ברוך אתה השם משמע ציון בפניה. שמחנו השם אלוהינו באליהו הנביא עבדך, ובמלך בית דוד משיחך. במהרה יבוא וגר ליבנו, על כיסאו לא ישב זה ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו. כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו, שלא יפן נרו לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה השם מגן דוד. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ביום השבת הזה שנתנת לנו השם אלוהינו, לתושב במיוחד לכבוד את דברת. על הכל השם אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך, מפרחים אותך, יתברך שמך בפי כל תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה השם מקדש השבת.
Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov.
Shakir, Benji, a big Mazel Tov. That was lovely to listen to, and very well done once again. It now gives me great pleasure to hand over to Scott, your wonderful teacher, who will address you now.
Okay, Mazel Tov, Benji. This is a really exciting time, and really want to say how proud I am of you. You've worked so hard to get to where you are over the last year and a bit. You really, really have. And I'm really excited to hear you in shul on the Shabbat. And also big Mazel Tov to the whole family, to Phil and Naomi. Thank you for entrusting your second son with me. I feel like it's a bit of having a habit here, and it's a really lovely honour to be part of your simcha in this way again. And Mazel Tov again to Daniel as well, for everybody in the family. I just wanted to talk briefly, as time allows, about one aspect of the Sedra, in particular part of Rishon, which obviously Benji is going to be reading, and with which I think he's pretty well familiar, at least I hope he's familiar at this point, which is the very famous line, where Hashem says to Moshe, he's talking about building the Mishkan, and he says, Va'asu li mikdash, v'shachanti b'tocham, which means, and you will make for me a mikdash, a sanctuary, and I will dwell within them. And there's a lot of commentary on this, and there's a fairly sort of well-known interpretation. The question that's asked is, how can it be? Why is it that Hashem is talking about building a sanctuary in the singular, one sanctuary, whereas he says that he will dwell within them, and the them is referring to the Jewish people. So in other words, Hashem is saying to Moshe, if you build me one sanctuary, I will live within the hearts of the Jewish people. But that got me thinking about what is it exactly that makes a mikdash? What is the difference between, say, an ordinary house and a sanctuary somewhere where Hashem is living? And to assist on this, I looked at the gematria for a bayit, house, compared it with the gematria for a mikdash, a sanctuary. So the gematria for a bayit is 412, and the gematria for a mikdash is 444. Take my word for it. And the difference between them is 32, and 32 is the gematria lamed vet, which is lave. So what that shows is that the thing that changes, if you like, your house into a home, or the thing that changes your house of God into a mikdash, something that's sanctified and elevated and special, is having the heart, having the intention behind it, and developing that relationship with Hashem. And you can do that in lots of ways. It shows when you're doing your davening that you show that you care about what you're saying to Hashem. It shows that when you go to shul, you're really thinking about what you're doing, you're learning about what you're doing, and you don't just do it by rote, you don't just do it as a habit, but you really work on it and you think about it and you really try to make it better. And it's my hope for you that you can establish that relationship with Hashem in that way, and so it makes that you'll please God from life, and it will make that life a meaningful life. So Mazel Tov once again.
Family and friends, I'm Benji. On the 11th of March 2008, my life was turned upside down with the arrival of Benji. Yesterday, Benji, you made us all so proud of your laning in shul. It was amazing, especially in order to comply with COVID-safe rules. You had to stand facing the ark at the front of the shul and project your voice behind you. Benji has been a spot-on younger brother. Irritating, always wanting to play with my toys, both when younger and now, trying to listen into all my friends' conversations. However, to be honest, Benji, you are not that bad. Although we are very different, obviously I am the kinder, much more intelligent brother, we do have a lot in common. We both love scouting, climbing, water sports, cycling, and driving our parents mad. We have enjoyed many holidays away with family, but the best ones are away with our grandparents. Surfing and bodyboarding with no parents to tell us what to do. I think that this is a very weird year we are living through, that it would have been much harder without you to escape with on a cycle ride and long walk. I'm really looking forward to going back to school to get a break from you. Since a young child, you have always been a bit of a daredevil, throwing yourself down steep slides, doing numerous leaps of faith without a thought. You were even banned from the primary school climbing frame for jumping off the very top. Thankfully for Mum and Dad's blood pressure, you are not doing this as often. I'm looking forward to us growing even closer as we get older, and hopefully once restrictions are over, we both learn to scuba dive somewhere hot. Finally, I want to reassure everyone that although Benji is annoying most of the time, he is sometimes a star. Benji, here is a star of your own.
Thank you.
The camera.
Simcha Elohim K'Ephraim V'Manasseh, Yevarechecha Adonai Yisraecha, Ya'er Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yichunecha, Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha V'Yashem Lecha Shalom.
Rabbi. Yeah, we can hear you.
Sorry, we lost connection there. Where are we up to now?
Yeah, I'll say I think it's your section.
Okay, great. So we just got back in. Sorry about that.
No problem.
So I'm going to do a Misha Berach for Benji. So here we go. Misha Berach Havashin Avram Yisrael Yaakov Vivarech Esapach Hapa Mitzvah Binyamin Yisrael B'Fishol Tov Yahad Levi. Shabbat lo shlosh shishon avigenu Yisrael Yisrael lechvod amach lechvod Torah ולכבוד השבת לא עושה שם עבוד תורה שם מספר החלקות ושוקם עליתוי ישמרה הקדוש ברוך הוא ויחייהו ויחיינן יסליבו לישלם עם השם וללכת בתוכו ולשמוע בשש כל הימים ונאמר אמן. And now it's my great pleasure to address Benji and indeed all the family. If you just wave if you can still hear me, please. Great stuff. Okay. A big Mazel Tov to Benji's parents, to Phil and Nemi, to brother Daniel, Benji's grandparents, Mark and Jeanette Slater, and Malcolm and Val Singer in California. We remember also Lahavdu Ben Chaim Lechaim, Benji's grandma Andrea, who will be so proud of Benji today. Again, it is my honor and pleasure to express the community's deep gratitude to various members of the family for their wonderful and peerless contributions to our community. To Mark for your indefatigable work and persistence in running Holocaust Memorial Day, which has educated hundreds of children about the Holocaust. To Naomi for your illustrious and award-winning service, serving Kiddush in the children's services over many years, chairing the Edge Committee, and most recently running a uniquely wonderful welfare program supporting hundreds of people during the travails and isolation of coronavirus. To Phil for serving as treasurer to the Edge Committee, narrating dozens of stories in the children's services, and now serving as our Shul Vice Chair, in which role, amidst much else, you have brought greatness to our youth scene in your superb work with Avi and Zaza, the whole with your trademark modesty, kindness, and positivity. I also thank all the grandparents for your share in bringing up Benji, either through your association with him or through instilling such wonderful values in his parents that had come down to him. Finally, the biggest Mazel Tov of all, and a big Yishakar to you, Benji, for your superb learning of Haftarah yesterday and again today. I can see, Benji, that you are a chip of the old block. You grew up in our children's services and youth service. You serve on the youth committee and are always ready to share in and support fun communal activities, engaging in a vast array of sports with friends, and not shrinking from nights away camping with the scouts. You have an affectionate, unassuming nature, and you are very much loved. Yesterday morning, you read the parasha of Terumah, but now we are into the parasha of Tetzaveh, which recounts in great detail what the priests wore in the temple. One garment worn by the Kohanim, the priests, and the Kohen Gadol, the high priest alike, was the Kesones Tashbetz. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch explains that it was a kind of coat with a particular design. Tashbetz means that the coat was woven in such a way that it had a pattern of little hollows all over it. Why did the Kohanim wear coats, and why did they have this special design? We can actually understand this by looking at the biblical history of coats, and it goes back a long way. When Adam and Eve sinned and were exiled from the Garden of Eden, God made for them kosnos or, coats of skin. The Midrash says that God made bigdei kahuna, priestly garments, for them. The Midrashim say further that these were the garments which Jacob wore when he was blessed by his blind father Isaac. And this is also the special garment that Yaakov later gifted to his son Joseph. We can understand from this amazing history that the kutanos, the coats worn by the priests, meant two things. The first lesson was an encouraging one. The coat association with the expulsion from the Garden of Eden was a message of forgiveness from God. Adam and Eve's sense of nakedness came from the fact that they had degraded their bodies by using them to eat fruit from the forbidden tree of knowledge. When God gave them coats, they regained their sense of dignity, and the fact that God had provided them with clothes meant that he still loved them and believed in them. The passing of the kutanos, the coats, from generation to generation meant that this was an idea that belonged not just to Adam and Eve, but to all of us. God believes in us and is there for us whenever we fall. But there is more than this. The Kohanim had to wear coats with a tashbetz design. Rabbi Samson Raphael Hirsch says that there was a clue in the hollows of this design, since such hollows were usually filled with precious stones. The coats looked incomplete, and we can only guess how stunning they would have looked if each of those hollows contained a gem. And the message here is clear. The Kohanim were told that, splendid as God's forgiveness is, it is not just there for us to stay where we are. Just as the tashbetz coats hints not only at forgiveness, but at a much greater beauty, so God, in his forgiveness, expects us to become diamond people, bejeweled with the radiant, blazing splendor of spiritual growth, shining from a thousand different corners of our souls. So here we are, Benji. Like the kutanos of old, we can see the Jewish message being transmitted faithfully from one generation to the next in your own family, and that is an amazing thing to behold. And like the kutanos, the essentials of the Jewish message are profoundly positive. When we fall, God is there to pick us up. And once we are up, God expects us to use his Torah to create greatness within ourselves. There is always more to be done, and there is always a more lustrous magnificence that can shine from us. Benji, you and your family have brought this message into your own lives. Like Daniel and your parents, you set the Judaism bar high and then overshoot it. In your Torah study at school and elsewhere, in preparing for your bar mitzvah, in your steadfast shul service attention, participation in our youth learning programs, in your pitching into the youth and scouting events with a brave heart and a wish to have fun in a good way. We are proud and grateful in equal measure to have you in our midst. Like the hint of the tashbetz on the kutanos, we see not only greatness, but hints to much more greatness in the future. The Jewish journey is challenging and exhilarating in equal measure, and we look forward to seeing you travel it well, turning the Torah this way and that like the precious jewel that it is, finding wonderful new patterns and beauty within it, and making it like your own, and in due course, handing it on to the next generation in your turn. Mazel Tov. And now, I'd like to invite Phil to give the presentation items to Benji once again. We have the Yad Vashem certificate, which you alluded to before, Benji, reminding us that this bar mitzvah is forever shared with David Engelberg, Olav Shalom, a boy who never made it to bar mitzvah and has now made it thanks to your kindness. And there is also a book given to you from the shul, which we hope you read and enjoy, and a certificate showing that you're now officially one of us, an associate member of Edgware United, and you're very, very welcome among our ranks, and you always will be.
Thank you very much, Rabbi. Rabbanim, family and friends. When we were planning Benji's bar mitzvah a year ago, I didn't think I would be looking out at a laptop screen in our dining room, live streaming on YouTube and Facebook. I'm sure you will all agree that Benji was brilliant just now, as well as in shul yesterday and Thursday morning. On live stream today, we are delighted that we have family and friends from all over the world including my dad, Val, and family in California, as well as family and friends in Israel, US, and hopefully Australia. We also have family from Leeds, Norwich, and across the UK, as well as across London, and of course in Edgware. On such a lovely occasion as this, we also remember family who are no longer with us, especially my mum, who had been so proud to see Benji grow up into the young man he is today and how confidently he laned. Benji, where do I start? It only seems like yesterday that I was taking you to Sinai Nursery or Tiny Tot service at Shaw. Now we spend time with you explaining to me the benefits of a Tesla. Mum and I are very proud of the amazing, kind, caring, funny young man you have become. We were so lucky that when you were born there were 3 great-grandparents around to help, with great memories and advice. We will never forget how great-grandma Betty came to help us for a day and ended up staying the week so she could keep holding you. As you have grown up, you have always had a daredevil approach to life. In early years, thinking nothing of going headfirst into black hole slides, or in more recent years, climbing trees or enjoying Jacob's ladder and water skiing. Mum and I hope that as you continue to grow and mature, that you will carry on being the mensch that you are, learning from the wonderful role models you have in this community and have faith in Hashem and Judaism. A few thank yous now. Thanks to Rabbi Lister, Rachel, and Avi and Zaza for all your support to Benji and the family, and to Rabbi Lister for the wonderful sermon yesterday and your very kind words this evening. Thanks to Rabbi Shisler and Chazan Yossi for your beautiful services over Shabbat. To my fellow executive and Naomi's co-chair on welfare, Judith, thanks for all your support and patience during the prep for our bar mitzvah. To Scott for his excellent teaching and patience with Benji. Thanks to Louise and Josh Mood for running today's live stream. Last but by no means least, the bar mitzvah would not have been possible without my wonderful wife, Naomi. With ever-changing plans, this has certainly meant so much hard work that my darling wife, Naomi, has done day and night. This has truly made this weekend so special for Benji and all the family. Finally, please sit back and relax and enjoy a few family photos to close Benji's bar mitzvah. Thank you.
Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Yeah, hey lanu. Oh, Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Simon Tov and Mazel Tov and Mazel Tov and Simon Tov. Yeah, hey lanu.